Welcome back, guys. Tyrant King here. I just went 3-0 at an RTT, took first place with Chaos Knights, and I didn't exactly get easy matchups. I played into Dark Angels, Tau, and Blood Angels. And two of those are the kind of games where Chaos Knights can just disappear if you make one mistake. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the target priorities, the mission plan, and the one turning point in each round that actually decided the game. And if you want to skip to the Tau game, I don't blame you. Chapters are below. I'm not going to do a full list breakdown here because I already covered that in my last video. The quick version is, this list is built to control the board early, survive turns 1 and 2, and then hit back with a big mid to late game punch. It's a mix of titanic pressure and cheap bodies, so I can screen, score, and still have enough knights left to actually close out games. Alright, round 1. I played Artie about 13 months ago when I was just getting into tournament play. It was a close game, but I lost. This time, we brought the same armies again, Chaos Knights versus Dark Angels, but totally different lists. And before the round even started, he straight up told me, I think this list struggles into Knights. For this round, we played Mission A on GW Layout 6. And my game plan on this mission is pretty simple. Score 2 objectives every round and try to keep my opponent stuck on 1, maybe 2. Before the game, I identified a few priority targets, and the big reason I felt safe here is he didn't have much long-range firepower. Really, the only long-range threat was the Storm Speeder, and it started in reserves. So I started with all 4 knights on the board. In my prep video, I said I might put the Abominant in reserves on this layout, but once I saw the matchup, I felt comfortable keeping everything down. Here were my priority targets. Number 1, Hellblasters, Eradicators, Blade Guard with the Judiciary. Priority 2, Storm Speeder Thunderstrike, and the Deathwing Knights. Now, he did start a few of these in reserves, the Storm Speeder, 1 unit of Deathwing Knights, and the Eradicators. So my main goal was to deny the Eradicators from getting a clean drop. As long as the Deathwing Knights didn't land on my side of the board, I was fine. I fought them at an RTT a couple months ago, and I learned the Rampager can actually deal with them without taking too much damage. But they definitely have the ability to punch up if you let them. So, with all that in mind, I played the first 2 turns really patient. I stayed mostly passive, killed what I could at range, and denied primary as much as possible. In those first couple turns, I eliminated his Blade Guard, I basically neutered his Hellblasters, and the only real acceleration I did was on turn 2. I pushed my Abominant up aggressively to block primary and clear some lower priority units. After that, his Eradicators came down way back in his deployment zone, which gave me a lot more breathing room. He also brought in the Storm Speeder near my Tyrant. Then, on turn 3, the game basically broke open. Because of where his Eradicators landed, I was able to use a towering roll to get a clean line of sight with my Tyrant, and I killed 5 out of 6 Eradicators. That squad was basically a non-issue after that. At the same time, I was able to advance and charge with my Rampager to eliminate the Storm Speeder. At that point, my target list was tiny, so I shifted into pure scoring mode. I focused on denying primary, staying on 2 objectives, and rampaging across the board to keep him from doing the same. Overall, I was really happy with how I played this one. I was calm, patient, and I stuck to the plan the whole time. Once the big threats were gone, it was just points. Final score was 90-64. Then on to round 2. This was the matchup I was dreading the most at the event. Worst case scenario, DEFCON 1. How do Chaos Knights actually win this one? Up to this point, the only time I'd beaten Tau at a tournament was against a brand new player. And I actually played Mira running this exact list in a practice recently while I was testing Lords of Dread. And I got completely annihilated. For this round, we played Mission K on GW Layout 1. And with Scorched Earth, you really only need to hold 2 objectives. So my plan was simple. hold my home objective and my side objective all game, and force the fight over the middle. I also lost the roll off for first turn, which actually helped a little, because I could score my side objective early and potentially burn it later to pull ahead. Before we started, I gave myself a short list of priority targets, and honestly, this is what kept me focused and patient the entire game. Priority 1, Storm Surge. This thing can kill a knight basically by itself, non-negotiable, it has to be isolated or killed. Priority 2, Broadsides. Priority 3, Riptides. And the single most important idea in this matchup, don't let the Storm Surge kill everything. Mont'ka also gives her army a brutal early game spike, assault and lethal hits for the first 3 rounds. So I needed to wait. I needed to play safe. With Layout 1 and Scorched Earth, I hid all of my knights behind the ruins in my deployment zone. And for turns 1 and 2, I basically snuck my Tyrant out to sit behind my expansion objective and contribute without exposing everything. On turn 2, Mira burned her expansion objective, which meant she basically had to control the middle to keep her score up. I tried to burn the middle objective with my blue horse to lock in the win early, but she stopped me by parking the Storm Surge on the middle objective on turn 3. Up to this point, the entire game had been cultists and blue horrors doing the work, while both of us were treating our Titanic models like nukes, hidden behind ruins, waiting for the first launch. And then it was time. Turn 3 was the pivot point. I full sent my Rampager into the middle, backed up by the Abominant and the Despoiler, and I managed to kill the Storm Surge. From that point on, the plan was simple. I made a conga line of knights towards the middle objective so she couldn't score it, and I started picking up as many Riptides and battle suits as I could. Once Mont'ka started falling off and the Storm Surge was gone, there just wasn't enough damage left to kill all my knights. I was honestly shocked I pulled this one off. Final score, 72-64. And seriously, huge shout out to Mira. She finished 2-1 and placed 5th overall, which is absolutely deserved. Going into round 3, Chaos Knights versus Blood Angels. Going into the last round undefeated always gives me performance anxiety, but I actually felt better when I saw I got paired into Jaden, because we usually have really good games. I went back and checked our tournament history, and after this one, my record into him is 2-1-1. I thought I was down overall before this event, but it turns out we were basically dead even. Before the game started, Jaden explained what Rage-Cursed Onslaught does, and I immediately started thinking about how I could actually win this. If you haven't played into this detachment yet, here's a quick version. Blood Angels get extra attacks on the charge, and they get even more when they're battle shocked. They also have stratagems that let them battle shock themselves on purpose to turn on these buffs. So my first thought was, okay, maybe Doom and Darkness can actually matter here. If I can force battle shock and stack debuffs, maybe I can survive long enough to win on mission. But then he told me his list. It's basically all jump packs, 12-inch move, fly, and he can advance and charge. And that mobility is extremely hard to screen. So I made my target priority list really simple. Priority 1, Sanguinary Guard. Priority 2, Death Company. And yeah, that's basically the whole army, which was not comforting. Since we were playing Take and Hold again, my plan was simple. Deny the middle as long as possible and score 2 objectives every round. If I can do that, it stays close. I got a little cheeky in deployment and put my Despoiler about 5 inches farther forward than I normally would. Jaden went first and immediately punished me for it. He charged my Despoiler with a 5-man Death Company unit, plus a Chaplain, and dealt 23 damage right out of the gate. And I learned something important. Darkness didn't help much, because Death Company can reroll hit rolls in melee anyway. So I made an executive decision. I put the Despoiler in timeout, all the way back in the corner of my deployment zone. From there, It basically turned into wave after wave of jump pack Marines crashing into my screens while I tried to survive long enough to start deleting his key units. A few key moments that decided the game. Jaden battle shocked his own unit at the wrong time and didn't score a tempting target because of it. He failed to clear a screen of cultists, so only 3 Death Company made it into my Abominant instead of 10. That was massive. The Despoiler in timeout stayed alive until turn 5 and just kept picking angles to delete anything that got too aggressive. My Tyrant got clean lines of sight on Sanguinary Guard and was able to delete 2 out of the 3 units before they did anything meaningful. And then the late game scoring started to swing. Jaden abandoned his home objective after turn 3 because it was sticky, which let me put cultists back into reserves and drop them in his deployment zone for free on turn 4. And on the last round, he left a single cultist near my home objective, trying to set up a Tyrant kill, which actually let me score 3 objectives at the end. This one was a nail biter, and combined with a lucky card pull, I barely eked out the win, 84 to 82. I'm really grateful I got to play Jaden again. This is always a great game, and congrats to him for taking 2nd overall. In my prep video, I said I'd consider this list a win if it did 3 things. Number 1, score 70 or more points per game. Number 2, actually be fun to play. And number 3, win at least 2 games. So let's check it. I scored 90, 72, and 84. So the first goal is definitely a check. Second goal, fun. I always have a great time at the Battleborn events, and this one was no different. The crew was awesome, and it was even better seeing a bunch of players from Valley Forge Wargaming there too. I think it was like 10 out of 14 players between the 2 teams. And the last goal was to win 2 games because that's what I've been doing consistently. This time I went 3-0 and took first place. So yeah, that's a check as well. Now, the real question, would I change the list? Honestly, no. I think this list works exactly how I want it to, and it is extremely fun to play. Depending on the matchup, I can lean into different knight profiles, or I can flex with cultists to control space and score. I only played into one of the new detachments this time, but overall, this list feels like it gives me more options under pressure than anything else I've run so far. Huge shout out to everyone at the RTT, and especially Battleborn for running another great event. If you want more Chaos Knights content like this, matchup plans, target priority, and tournament recaps, hit subscribe. And tell me what you want to see next. More RTT breakdowns, a deep dive into one of these matchups, or more strategy content. And if you've got a matchup you're struggling with, drop it in the comments, and I'll make a video for it.